You've lived here because that's what you've been taught, and they're supposed to know, and they're right in that orientation, in that world, up high. For instance, altitude is life. You were taught that. Not where I live. Airspeed is life. Without airspeed, I can't maneuver. Can't maneuver, I can't stay alive. I hit something. Vertical space is ample in the high altitude orientation. Not for me. Vertical space is limited. There's trees, there's towers, there's terrain, there's stuff out there. My turns, I'm going to jump down, but all my turns, for 17,000 hours of turns, every one of them turn to target, not turn to heading. Except when I do have 400 hours of actual instrument in a Huey, and that is different. Yes, that's high altitude orientation. Turn to heading, not turn to. But where I lived, it was a turn to a target. Vertical space was ample where you are, not down where I was. Horizontal space was ample where you were, up high, not down where I was. Horizontal space is limited. Stall spin recovery was possible. Where I was, stall spin recovery was fatal. Now what I'm trying to get at here is, I've watched a lot of videos and seen a lot of stuff that shocked me, probably shocked you too. 300 people die in a year in general aviation. They're stalling too low to recover from inadvertent stall. Yes, you practice stalls, and yes, you practice stall recovery. You know you're gonna do it. When you don't know you're gonna do it, and you're low, like around the airport, takeoff and landing, we'll do that once every time we go and once when we come back. It's fatal there. Altitude is time. Think about things like engine quits. We're gonna try to fix some things. We're gonna look at some things. We're gonna go to the best glide airspeed. In 11, at least of the 13, there's 6-second deals. I didn't think about glide speed. I thought about there. I'm going there. I'm going to maneuver and go there, and I'm going to live. Low or fast is safe. Not altitude is safe. Altitude is money in the bank. Airspeed is money in your pocket. I needed that money in my pocket. With 200 foot altitude, that didn't help me a whole lot. I didn't have time. Had 6 seconds. I needed to maneuver to where I could survive, somewhere pretty much in front of the wing. 90-degree turn is no big deal. 180, pretty big deal. Probably not going to do that. But 90 is no big deal. I don't have to go straight ahead, just something in front of the wing. There's something there. And when you're low, the in front of you hemisphere is limited. You only see a little ways. So where you need to go is very obvious. It was every time. No problem. I didn't have to think about, well, this or that, or no, go there. Just turn and go there. Do it now. And that's what you need to do on takeoff if you lose an engine. You don't need to be up in the air a long ways and try. If you're high enough, you can get back to the runway, but if you're not, you can stall it and fall, and that's not good. It'd be better to be going cruise airspeed when the engine quits. We're at high altitude orientation, we're giving away free energy out of ground effect. We're losing, the ground effect injury goes away as soon as we climb out of ground effect. And if we climb out of ground effect while slow, we're giving away life-saving energy just giving it away. In low altitude orientation, that ground effect energy, that free ground effect energy allows for more performance, allows us to maneuver to that spot we see. It's near, there's not so many that we have to cogitate, just go there. And we've got the energy to maneuver up a little bit if we need to, right, left, wherever it is, whatever we need to do. We have zoom reserve energy, zoom reserve airspeed. High altitude orientation is conditioning you to get away from the ground, where low we're conditioned to maintain airspeed, maneuverability. I wrote a little ebook, Safe Maneuvering Flight Techniques, and I used maneuvering flight because it was a no-no. I wrote it back when it was still taboo. It's not so much now. I think they're beginning to see these things on video too. We need to deal with maneuvering flight, not act like we're avoiding it. We're not avoiding it. Not when we take off, not when we land. We're in the school program, we're conditioned to not be comfortable down low, and we have hours and hours of most of our cross-country flight being high, and so we're not feeling real comfortable when we are down low and in the high altitude orientation, where if you go out crop dusting, pipeline or crop dusting, or working low firefighting or whatever, you don't come into an airport that's uncontrolled and nobody around and climb, or if it's people or traffic. I mean, if there's traffic, I'm going to give way and come in after, but I'm not going to climb up into traffic to come down to the airport. I'm at 200 feet. I'm going to stay down, stay out of the way, and land behind the last airplane up there. It's I'm just comfortable that way. I'm not comfortable getting up there in the mix. Up first is high altitude orientation. Fast first. Fast always. Speed allows maneuvering. If we're when we don't want to maneuver and we don't want to fly, we want to land, that's when fast is not as important. That's when airspeed is not as important. That's when we want to give up airspeed in order to not fly, which is called landing. So that's a whole different situation. But we're trying to get across the idea, and with all this technology and videos, it's pretty clear. Our problem in aviation is not the high. I think we got high altitude knocked out pretty good. I think we got that. Everybody's pretty sharp on that, pretty clear on that. Low altitude, not so much. That's what this is all about. We don't want you dying around the airport. We don't want you climbing so fast that when you stall, you end up falling onto the airport and crashing and burning on the airport. I mean, it doesn't matter where you crash and burn, but I mean, that's, why did you need to be up that fast, you know? Noise abatement, well, noise abatement is not as important as living, you know? That's all I got to say. The old guy that's kind of crotchety. That's what I have to say.